This is about his most simplistic wrestling scenario as there can be. But the special, this only happens one time.
Yes.
That we can all truly say this. And look, Flair 3 or 4 retirements, Funk 3 or 4 retirements. We could name several others, but the second retirement, if on Flair, it's not the same. There's only one time, and I truly believe, and I do believe this wholeheartedly. I believe we won't see Sting. I'm not even. I don't even really think we're going to see him at Comic-Cons and conventions and autograph sessions. I think I don't see that. I think Sting is transitioning. I may be wrong, but I think he's kind of transitioning into 100% Steve Borden. I think this is obviously televised and pay-per-view the last time, but I think there's such a special and a uniqueness that I think Sting is truly ready to go home.
I hope he does exactly what he wants to do. He deserves
Yep.
it. He's
Yep.
earned it. However, having been the guy who sees how well he does at StarCast,
Jeez.
and then wrote a check that was proof of how well he did, brother's going to be doing autographs for a long time. I mean, as long as he wants, because it's a cash register. People cannot get enough of this character. It is a character that people have grown up with. And I'm so excited that he's got his last match coming this weekend. I hope you'll join us in Huntsville tomorrow at EWTIX.com. And I hope that you'll be watching on pay-per-view this weekend. He announced this retirement on October 18th, 2023. And here we are, March 3rd. It's all coming to an end. Let's do a few questions here, then we'll put a bow on this one. Lopez wants to know, what's a piece of advice from Sting, either in the ring or out of the ring, that you will always carry with you, whether it was personal or professional?
There was a couple of times in my sobriety, well, even before that, but no, Sting would always just say, Jeff, just be you. I mean, and I say that even in the TNA days, get Sting on the phone or at the building and say, hey, Sting, can we sit down? Let's kind of go over the next 3 months of creative. And you always want to be diplomatically, because I held him, with my father's relationship with him, and held him high esteem. He's a few years older than me. So always respected him, looked up to him. And sometimes you get into the delivery of whatever you're saying, and Stinger would go, hey, Jeff, just be you. Tell me what you got on your mind, just as real as can be. So that, and he's told me that in different scenarios, business, non-business, just in life. So I carry that with me.
Great answer. Francis Reyes wants to know, what's the main thing that people are surprised about when they meet Steve? Not Sting, but Steve. What's the most surprising thing to you think?
You would have to, that's on an individual basis, but I think the Sting character is authentic. He's as authentic as he appears on TV.
He's quiet. I think that's what, I mean, listen, I understand that the Crow character is that way, but I mean, he is one of the more laid back, chill dudes I've ran across in wrestling.
Yeah.
Adam Arpin says, what were your thoughts about the Sting and Vampiro match at Great American Bash 2000? How did the boys react to it? And was there any added pressure on yourself and Nash having to follow up when the crowd checks out after that Sting stunt double got lit on fire and fell off the screen?
Apologies, sir. Don't have the recollection. It's hard enough for me to remember all my matches, but a Sting Vampiro match, don't have a lot of recollection for that. I apologize.
Well, they had a guy dress up like Sting, set him on fire, and pushed him off the TV. So it's the Russo era, baby. Sam Rosenthal says, Sting was one of the most loyal to WCW across time. Why do you think he didn't go to WWE sooner? Did you ever talk to him about this?
I think Sting understood his character, and I don't want to call it the comfort zone, but there is familiarity. But he has a knack, like iconic musicians. He knew what was best for the Sting character and always leaned into that. Into the TNA years, let's do a 1-year deal. I don't want to wear out my welcome. I don't want to force things. I want to get the most money that I can as well. He's extremely loyal, but figured out how to be diplomatically selfish in a positive way. He always did what was best for Sting. And that was a lot of times what was best for the promotion. More
Mr.
times than
Mox, Mr.
go ahead.
Moxley says you've done a great job laying out what Sting meant for TNA's overall revenue. Why do you think, despite being a legend and huge star, he was so rarely able to be a difference maker at selling pay-per-views and tickets? Is it just wrong places, or was his character hard to book? Of course, you and I talked a lot about how much he meant to the business as far as licensees and shelf space with toys and things like that. But as far as pay-per-view, we've often scratched our head about how did we have 2 million people watching and 30,000 buying pay-per-view? Did you think it was hard creatively to tell stories with Sting? I mean, were fans just excited to see him regardless of what the
Oh, yeah,
story
yeah, I
was?
think he's a fantastic Joker, main event mafia. I mean, through his whole career, he's a I don't say easy, but yeah, you can tell a lot of stories. Again, I'm going back to two factors. Was do we defer to ratings, which Sting helped us in ratings, multiple deals, and then pay-per-views when we really laid into Sting, Jeff Jarrett, career versus title, it sold buys. But Hulk Hogan on down, quote unquote, didn't per se move the needle. I also want to go into, and there's a couple of studies out now on how streaming services and just how the world, I call it the Apple wallet generation. We didn't have that from '06 to 13. It was just a different era. So the pay-per-view, there were probably a lot more people pirating our shows than paying for them. That's not an excuse. I just think that's a reality due to technology. So it wasn't a Sting issue. It was a TNA issue.
Richard Land, who helps us with a lot of our research here and runs the history of WWE.com, has a great question for you. He says, Jeff, have you ever thought about a second career just cosplaying as other wrestlers? In doing research for the show for a while now, I've never known someone to dress up as others as much as you. You've done Sting and the Villanos, as we talked about today. Last week, we talked about you as Dusty Rhodes. You've also done Doink the Clown, the Blue Blazer, Jeff Hardy, and I'm sure others. Is there anyone you would like to cosplay that you haven't done already?
Oh gosh, you'd have to throw some out there, but I enjoy that. I think it kind of fits into um you said the doink thing. I could remember when they laid that out to me and I just was like, do what? And then as I'm going, I can see this. It just I like to immerse myself in a character. The Jeff Hardy one was a blast doing. I don't know. I
I
think
got
they're
one. I got
yeah,
one. If Okada does indeed sign with AEW one day, I don't know what he's going to do, but if he did, it would be awesome if you threw on that Kato mask,
okay.
strutted ass down there doing your best Kato and
Let's
TNA.
do it, pal. Let's do it.